you shouldn't have been in that homework check. I'll have to check yours tomorrow. Okay. Yes. I'm on the back of the page, habitat.
So now that page that we did last time makes no sense. Because I read it and kind of understood it, but I didn't know. The page is studying populations, I think.
No, I don't think that you had to know that for this. I mean, know this for that.
Because the add-on one of them about nuisance. It was, yeah, it was this one. Studying populations that added out the nation and habitat.
It might, I mean, I don't know. This is next week's. Somewhere on, it was on the first one, maybe. Well, habitat's on like one of the first ones.
Habitat's on the first.
And biotic and abiotic. And then, oh yeah, niche is on there. Okay. Yeah, interactions. But, I mean, basically the habitat is just where they live. And the niche is like what their part is that they play. You know, what role do they play in the whole thing. It could be predator, it could be, I mean, it could just be something like a bee pollinates. You know, like it could just, yeah, pretty much. Just the role that they play. Okay? Okay. So, habitat where they live, niche, how they act within the ecosystem, basically. What it eats, where it lives, what does it do, just the role that it has. Okay, 3 interactions among organisms. First one we're going to talk about is competition. Competition is basically fighting, competing, okay? Fighting, some kind. 2 different ways it can happen. We can have 2 different species. If it's 2 different species, it's inter. For example, the lion and hyena would fight over kill. So there's one food, but there's 2 different species that want it, and they're fighting for it. Okay? Inter. The second kind is intra. Intra-specific competition. In this one, it's the same 2 species. Okay? And y'all, they're not just fighting over food, they're fighting over resources. That means they could be fighting over food, they could be fighting over a place that they live, they could be fighting over a mate. So it's not just food. Yes, most of the time the pictures that you see for fighting is for food. But it's not just food, it could be the other things as well. Okay? So that's one way they interact. The second way they interact, predation. One organism trying to eat the other, so that's predator-prey. The predator is the one who hunts. And the prey is the one who is hunted. Okay, most of the time he is killed. Okay? Does that make sense? So, here, snake, rat, it's that simple. The third interaction is called symbiosis. Okay? Symbiotic. A symbiotic relationship. In a symbiotic relationship, basically like they are close, they live close, okay, like side by side possibly, and then there's either harmful or helpful. Like in most of them, they're like helping in some way or another, okay? So, but they're in close relationship, and it's 3 different things that can happen. The first one is called commensalism. Commensalism is one benefits and nothing happens to the other. Okay? So, like the shark. There's the fish that live, like, not live, but like they swim right by him. Whenever he has food that falls out of his mouth, anything happen to the shark? Nope. So one benefits and the other one is not helped out or harmed. Nothing happens to him. That is commensalism. Okay, so commensalism. One benefits, nothing happens to the other. They put a bird on there because that would be what happens to the tree when the bird's in it. Nothing, but the bird benefits because he has shelter. And yeah. Does that make sense? Okay, that's commensalism. He just has a place to live? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's a million of these relations. Think about all the different animals that live together. There's a million different relationships. I don't know them all. Okay? You get the point, though, right? Okay, number 2, mutualism. Mutualism, they both benefit. They both get something from another. So, in this example, and this is the one that's on the brain pop in a second, the little bird goes and eats he eats the food on the gator's teeth, but he's eating, that's his benefit, and then the gator's benefit is his teeth are clean. So that's, in a mutualistic, they both get something. They both are helping each other, okay? And obviously, isn't the butterfly going to pollinate and he's going to eat, so the flower gets something and the butterfly gets something?
I know like an alligator eats the bird.
That's nothing. I was like, what made you look at the bird?
Because I think it's these one, they know, and they've talked about these relationships, how over time, in some of these relationships, it ends up that they can't even live without the other. He knows that bird that's what he's doing. I don't even know how, but he does. The third one is parasite-host. The parasite benefits and the host is hurt. Basically, that's what happens. Okay? Parasite, the host, think about it, the host is like, it holds it. It's where the parasite is the eater. Does that make sense? Parasite, host. Okay? I don't know.
So people like eat tapeworms and they like eat water inside they like eat stuff.
Hey, can you reach those pretzels way up there?
Thanks. What would I do without you? Dear Tim and Moby, what's up with those birds that hang out in the crocodile's mouth? From Benson. That's one of my favorite symbiotic relationships. A symbiotic relationship, or symbiosis, occurs when two species live in close contact with one another. There are three main categories of symbiosis, distinguished by whether the relationship is harmful or helpful to one or both of the species. Mutualism is a symbiotic relationship that benefits both species. Those crocodile birds, Egyptian plovers, are an example of mutualism. According to legend, they hang out in crocodiles' mouths to pick food from their teeth.
It's a living.
The plover gets to eat, and the crocodile gets his teeth cleaned. Before you get all squeamish about mutualism, you should know that I am a living example of mutual symbiosis. Inside my intestines, bacteria are helping me digest my food. No, I don't need a doctor. Everybody has them. Those bacteria have a food supply, and I get to eat a wider range of things. Not all types of symbiosis are beneficial. In parasitism, one species grows stronger by harming another species. Take the botfly. This nasty little critter spends the first part of its life inside the bodies of mammals. Once a botfly egg gets under an animal's skin, it hatches and burrows into the flesh. A botfly larva grows to maturity inside its animal host, totally safe from predators. When it's all grown, it crawls to the surface and hops away. As for the host, she'll usually develop a big old lump and experience some serious pain. And after the larva crawls out, its hole can become infected. Don't worry, it's pretty rare for them to bite humans. And I don't think it can burrow through metal. Anyway, there's also a third type of symbiosis, commensalism. That's where one species benefits while the other is unaffected. It's pretty common. For example, some tropical orchids grow in trees. By positioning itself on a branch, the orchid can get the sunlight it needs to live and grow. It doesn't hurt the tree at all, but it doesn't help it either. Yeah, I guess you and I sort of live in symbiosis too. I give you a house to live in, food, energy, and friendship, and you give me... Wait, what exactly do you do for me again?
Parasite.
Oh, right, pretzels. I forgot about the pretzels.
Okay. All right, so we are now on the roles of organisms. So, producer, consumer, decomposer. Y'all know all of these. This is the little part that you should know, I'm hoping, okay? Except I don't think that you know autotroph and heterotroph. Okay. Autotroph, they make their own food. They make their own. But it's going to be like bacteria, fungus, the plants. Yeah, anything that goes through photosynthesis. Yeah.
Wait, bacteria doesn't go photosynthesis?
Some of them can. The green ones, I think, can. Yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that. Or maybe I'm thinking of algae. But I think that there are green bacteria too. I don't know. Consumers are heterotrophs. They eat other organisms. Y'all should know herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat meat, omnivores eat both. And then decomposers, y'all know what a decomposer is? Pretty much everything goes back to the decomposer because all things are going to die. Decomposers break down dead things. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. Well, the stinky comes from the decomposing. So there wouldn't be a stinky. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, go to the next page of your notes. Matter cycles and energy flows. Yes.
How does the decomposer break down the bone?
He eats it. It's a chemical reaction.
Can they eat like the metal one out or like you don't have to know.
Well, you actually, you have some elements that are metals, so that is, yes, but all of the elements are used in other ways. Like they join other elements to make other compounds. Or they are used to split, they might use this element to split a nitrogen so that you can have different nitrogen bacteria in your, that's what I'm getting to. These matter cycles, and it's like the water cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle. All of those, that's matter. That's actual atoms. Okay? But energy is not, it doesn't cycle. It flows from one to the other and changes form. It transfers from one to the other. Okay? So that's why our food chains are going to have arrows where it's like this, into this, into this, into this. But the matter ones, they have the circles because they flow around and keep going in a circle. Okay?
That one will run the water.
Yes, exactly. Because it just keeps on going. Condensation, transpiration, runoff, precipitation, back up to the top.
So wouldn't you,
That over and over and over and over.
so wouldn't you be able to with constant water for 300 years?
Right, that's why hydroelectric is a good thing. Because you're going to get runoff, you're going to get rain. But the problem is you just don't have it in that form, like in that big form everywhere. I mean, you got little bitty streams, but you need like a big reservoir. Okay? So, matter cycles, energy flows from one to the next. And the main thing is, the amount you start with is the amount you end with. I taught you that. You better not forget that. That's a big deal. Okay? Because we're not going to just, magically we're going to lose no more energy. No. It can't be created or destroyed. It just goes from one to another, and then it's waiting, because even after your top consumer is going to die too, and then it's going to be decomposed. And all of that energy just flows through again. And we have the sun. The sun is going to be the first source of energy that's going to make the next energy change into another one. Photosynthesis, and then somebody eats it. Okay?
So then how are we using the water?
Because the same water just keeps cycling. What do you mean, how would there be more water? There wouldn't be. That's what I'm saying. Matter and energy are both conserved. That means you can't create matter. It's already there. And it just, from, this one to this one to this one. Yeah. That's it. Yes. Oh, gosh, yes.
So does that mean, like, one day the energy you have will be passed on, like, when people pass on energy?
Well, I mean, if you die, your energy is,
Zero by candle, so technically yes.
yeah.
If you're not a candle.
Can matter be destroyed?
Nope, matter cannot be destroyed. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. What'd you say?
Like, whenever you're born, you grow up. Because the parent or your mom were, like,
No, what your cells grow,
oh,
but they're already there. Like, how do you say that?
How do you get the energy to move when you come out?
because whenever
Food.
mom eats food. Oh.
See, so they're not. It's almost like they're the same thing, but they're not.
Are you like, do you have the same energy as your mom your entire day?
Well, you get it from her. That's why she is like tired.
Oh.
Yeah, because you take it.
Relationship. What is
Okay, so I am now on the food chain thing. Okay? Simple diagram that shows the flow of energy from one organism to another, right? So a food chain just basically says grass, grasshopper, rat, snake, hawk. Okay. This, most people get confused because the arrows, they're like, what is going on? The arrows show the energy. The arrows show the energy. Okay? What this means is the energy goes from the grass to the grasshopper to the rat to the snake to the hawk. The arrow shows how the energy transfers from one to the next. Okay? It's pointing from what's being eaten to the thing that eats it. So this is what somebody said last hour. So really, like, it's almost like the arrows are backwards. Well, the arrows, because if you think about it, the order that they eat it in, it's because you're thinking that the arrows are for the wrong thing. You see what I'm saying? The arrows do not say, he eats him. He eats him and he eats him. That's not what the arrows don't say that. The arrows show the energy, that the energy goes from him to him. Okay? So if you're on a question and you're confused about who eats who, you got this picture and you're like, okay, who eats who? Or this one, who eats who? You got to go the other way. You got to say, okay, he eats him, he eats him, he eats him. Do you see what I'm saying? The arrows tell me the energy. But they can ask you questions on the test about the energy, and they can ask you questions, and I'm going to ask you questions about who eats who. You see what I'm saying? You can find out both answers from the picture, but you have to understand how to read it. If I'm asking you about the energy, it goes from grass to grasshopper to shrew to owl. If I'm asking you about which order they eat in, well, he eats him, he eats him, he eats him. You see what I'm saying? It's backwards, basically. Okay? Okay, so the difference between a food chain and a food web. Almost nothing.
Yeah, a food web.
Okay. In a food web, basically what we have is a whole bunch of food chains. Okay? So do you see how, I'll put it on here. It's going to be way. Yep. You see how this one's pink? Okay. Because what they're showing you is this is one chain in the whole web. Make sense? Basically, a food web is all the food chains in that ecosystem.
Is that a food chain on the right?
Yeah, they're all food chains. Okay? This is what a food web does. Because if you think about it, in our grasshopper example, is the rat really the only thing that eats the grasshopper? No. So to be able to show all the things that eat the grasshopper, I have to use a food web. For example, water lily, crawfish, otter, alligator. The crawfish is not eaten only by the otter. He's also eaten by the frog, the largemouth bass. Does that make sense? I don't think so. It's too small. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Nobody has any questions about this at all. You tell me. You tell me. What does the crawfish eat? What'd you say? You can't tell what the crawfish eats. Then move. Raise your hand if you know what the crawfish eats. A water lily? Okay. And algae. Who doesn't understand? Awesome. Good. Okay. Now, you see all these words on the side right here? Tertiary, secondary. Okay, that's the part you don't know. I know you don't know it. So, you're going to take your note page and you're going to flip it over. No, you're not writing all this stuff. This is mine finished. You're not writing all that. We're only using the circles in the middle, okay? Because this is the part you don't know. Producers, right. Produce their own food, photosynthesis. primary consumer. Put a number 1 and then write first ones to eat. Primary is 1, first. They're the first ones to eat. We're going to write that, well, you can, but we're going to write that in a second on that triangle. Secondary consumers, put a 2. They're the second ones to eat. Tertiary is the 3. They're the third ones to eat. And you need to write this, quaternary consumer, because that's the name of the fourth. I don't have any fourth pictures over there. Oh yeah, on that one we do. Yeah, that's the human.
And sometimes, like, when we're lower in the food chain, eat the, like, big poison.
I think that's rare.
But, like, predators can eat humans.
Yeah, they can, but I mean, it's rare.
So,
Yeah, I mean, but see on that poster with the gator, if he's the tertiary, who obviously would be the quaternary? Us. We eat gator. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, but I mean, that's rare. Okay. Oh, what were you on? The fourth and the quaternary consumer, he's the fourth to eat. Got it? No, you don't have to. I'm going to take a picture of it and let y'all be able to see it. But, okay, we're now on the pyramid. Okay? So, a pyramid is basically showing you the trophic levels within that web. Okay? That's what you need to define. Trophic level, it's on the board, the feeding positions in a food web. The feeding positions in a food web. So each one of these is a level, okay? Now, y'all just wrote down producers, primary consumer, all that stuff. A primary consumer has to eat, he's the first one to eat, and he eats them. So a primary consumer only eats plants, so a primary consumer has to be a herbivore. I mean, most of the time. You could possibly have one made with an omnivore there, but majority of the time, the first thing that it's going to be is something that eats a plant, because it starts with the plant. And from the sun, yeah, ultimately. No, they make glucose. They make glucose. They eat carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, basically. Then, the secondary consumer, those are normally the carnivores because they eat meat.
Why does some not be herbivore and
Yes, you could get up here and have an omnivore, but most of them work this way. Okay?
why do some dogs eat grass?
Don't know. Last thing I need to talk about, the energy. Okay?
How do you gauge that?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you tell how much energy it gives from the, does it give the same amount of energy from each to the next?
Okay, well, this number at the bottom can always be a different number to start. Okay, like on that poster over there, is it 2,000 or something? Or I found another one with 2,000. Maybe that's what it was. Basically, what you have as you go is you have a 10% change. You just take a zero off, basically. So if you would start with like 2,000 right here, this would be 200. This to 20 to 2. That's basically what happens. You only get a 10% amount from the one before you. Okay? Because they, like the rabbit, he ate the plant, and then he had to breathe, sleep, eat, digest. To do all of that, he used up the energy that he got, so he only has 10% available, basically. Your body, oh yeah, you're using energy when you sleep. Like that's when you're digesting food. You didn't know that?
You lose weight while you're sleeping?
Yeah, you can do that all the time. When you're sleeping, your body is digesting food.
That's how you grow muscle.
Yeah, like, so when you're digesting your food, oh my goodness, yes, that's energy. It's breaking it all down.
That's why in the morning you don't use it.
I don't know. What? Yeah, you have waste.
If you start to run out of energy because you didn't eat, can you like have trouble breathing?
Yeah. You can have trouble doing anything. Okay, so, did y'all write this down, 110.1.1? As you move up, the energy goes down. And then also the population. At the top, the population is really small.
So if there's us at the top of the food chain, and we just decide to circle to the middle level and just go straight to bread, would we still 100%? Wait,
Well, that's why you get more from vegetables.
if the herbivore, if you're on top of the herbivore like the rabbit, and there's less rabbits than us,
We wouldn't have any rabbits to eat.
so like,
Okay,